What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video, and we just got WandaVision episode 8, and it was insane. And even though it did not quite meet our expectations and theories for what to expect in this episode, it did give us inside look into Wanda's past and information that we needed leading up to the finale in the next episode. And so today, I'm going to break down WandaVision Episode 8, but before I move on, guys, I had to issue a spoiler alert. If you're trying to avoid spoilers for WandaVision Episode 8, click away now, and don't come back till you've watched Episode 8, but if you're still here, let's get started. So, WandaVision Episode 8 starts with the recap of how Wanda went into the storage facility and stole Vision's body and resurrecting him. And then we get a flashback from Infinity War when Thanos took the Mind Stone out of Vision and Wanda watching him because Darcy told Vision that Vision asked Wanda to take the Mind Stone out of him, and then Thanos reversed time and took the Mind Stone out of Vision, killing him again, and then Thanos threw Wanda around. And then it cuts to the Salem witch trial in Salem, Massachusetts in 1693, where they were taking Agatha Harkness to have her sentenced to death, and they tie her up in the stake, and then they say the chant in Latin, and then they strike her with a blue glowing power, and then Agatha feels pain, but then instead of killing her, Agnes decides to reverse it, sending the witch's power a notch stronger. They were stealing all their power, reversing it, and then falling to the ground, turning them into skeletons. And then the leader of the sorority flies up and then tries to kill her again. And then she tries to reverse it again, but by not killing her, tying her to the ground too. And then she sets free, and then right when there, we see the necklace, which has the twins, and which has the Grim Reaper. Then she takes it, and then she floats up. And then we cut to Agatha's lair from the last episode. We see Agatha Harkness and Senior Scratchy, and then Wanda is down there with her, discovering Agnes's true identity as Agatha Harkness, and then her pet bunny is Senior Scratchy. And then Agatha Harkness puts Wanda in a protection spell, and all the walls doing it to her at the exact same time. And then as we look on your right, we see the M logo, which is the House of M. And then Agatha starts to ask her questions about what's her secret and how she did it, and all she asked was how she made a fake reality in a town and how she did it, and she just said she doesn't know how she did it. And she says that she was waiting for her to reveal her true self. She was currently watching her and Vision as they were transferring through different decades of time, wearing different hairstyles and costumes. Then she also mentions how she summoned Pietro, which she says it's fake Pietro, also known as fake Tro. And then she says that her real brother Pietro's body is on another continent, and then she says many holes. And this is an exact reference to when a Quicksilver got shot and many holes in his body and died. And this is how Agatha is talking about Quicksilver and how she summoned him. So how did Agatha Harkness summon Quicksilver from the Fox universe? Well, Agatha did use her abilities to pull Evan Peters' Quicksilver out from the X-Men Fox universe over to the MCU, and then we saw within the episode 6 of the Halloween episode, Pietro Maxwell was definitely interrogating Wanda into giving him information which then he can give to Agnes, which she can reveal to Wanda, and that's exactly what we got in episode 7 of that big reveal. And from what we know, Pietro Maxwell, aka Quicksilver, from who we know from the Fox universe, is not the real Quicksilver. He was just summoned here by someone, and that is Agatha. And from what we can tell by the episode 7 and ending, she was put behind all this, even summoning Quicksilver. And then Agatha takes a fly, does a spell over it, and then puts it under a mind control spell, and then she throws it on Wanda's face. And then she takes the fly again, puts a chaining spell around it, and then turning it into a bird, which is later eaten by Senior Scratchy. And then after that, she tells her what's her secret and how she did it. And then Wanda refuses to answer, and then Agatha throws her across the room, bang her head against the wall many times across both walls. And then Agatha takes a piece of Wanda's hair out of her head, it takes a tiny piece, and then does a spell around it, and then she as it flies, and then we see Agatha open the door to Wanda's past, her Sokovian home, where we see her mom and dad and her brother Pietro. And now about this, as we are taking a place as we were taking time to go through Wanda's past, so we can see that this is taking place during the Cold War, when Wanda and her brother Pietro were attacked in their Sokovian home during the Cold War. And then right before they're about to watch TV, and Pietro says that they have to learn English, we see all of the titles of the sitcoms that we've been experiencing throughout the whole show, because this show is dedicated through decades of sitcoms, and we see all the titles that we were currently watching WandaVision through the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s as well, including Bewitched, Malcolm in the Middle, and the Dick Van Dyke Show, and much more. And then the mom looks out the window and sees that there's a war going on outside, and then they're about to watch TV, and they put on the Dick Van Dyke Show, and while they're watching it, and Wanda and Pedro are watching it too, the explosion happens with the Stark Industries bomb blowing up their home, leaving their parents dead, with Wanda and Pedro surviving the attack. And then Wanda starts to notice that around her that a war is happening, and that her home was blown up. And then we later find Pedro, who was alive also during the attack on their home, grabbing Wanda and hiding them under a table. And then, as they can see, that the war is still happening. And then we can also see the Stark Industries bomb landing right near them, because in Avengers Age of Ultron, Pedro and Wanda were discussing how their home blew up in Sokovia during the Cold War, and she only mentioned one name, Stark, on it. And then they see that the TV survived the explosion and is still playing the Dick Van Dyke Show. And then the Stark Industries rocket beeps, and then Wanda tries to put a stop to it, and then she immediately gets dragged out, and then we see adult Wanda again. So you may notice, but because from Avengers Age of Ultron, Pedro and Wanda were mentioning that their home being attacked in Sokovia during the Cold War, and when a Stark Industries bomb blew up their home, leaving their parents dead, and the twins surviving, and then Wanda mentioned that there was only one word written on it, Stark, and this is what caused Wanda to put Tony Stark in a brain warp, sending him in an alternate reality where all the Avengers were dead. And then Wanda mentions that the bomb never went off, and it was very defective, and then they were hiding under the table for 2 whole days. And then we are taken to a Sokovian lab where Agnes mentions that Wanda was trying to join the anti-freedom organization, and then she steps in to the lab, and then as we can see, we see the scepter with the Tesseract in it. And then, right after that, we see the Space Stone coming out of the scepter. And then, as the Space Stone comes closer and closer to Wanda, she touches it, and it randomly turns into the Mind Stone. And then, after that, slow motion, it suddenly explodes and shatters. And as we can see, right as Wanda's looking at it, we can see the Scarlet Witch with the horns on top. And then after that, she falls to the ground, and then the scientists take her to be isolated. And then they also look over the footage, and as we can see, and then as they were looking at the footage, they can see that Wanda was walking, and then she immediately collapses, because this means that Wanda touching the Space Stone and then expanding it and exploding it into the Mind Stone, it didn't happen in front of the scientists, and they didn't see it. And then after that, Agatha mentioned that she went up to an Infinity Stone and amplified it and turned it into the Mind Stone, which you saw the actual Scarlet Witch with the horns on top. And then we are taken to the Avengers compound of the same scene like from Captain America Civil War, where Wanda and Vision had their first home there in their room. And then she mentioned that her brother was dead and that she was in a new country. And then Vision comes out of the door, and then we see Wanda and Vision watching a clip from Malcolm in the middle. So this is what we assume like from the Halloween episode. It was all Malcolm and the middle themed, which Wanda and Vision watch on the TV in their room. And then Wanda and Vision are talking, and then Wanda mentions that the only thing that would bring me comfort is seeing him again. And this means that she is talking about her brother Pietro, in which like Wanda also mentioned that he died during Avengers Age of Ultron. So she is mostly talking about her brother Pietro, and she would get real comfort if she saw him again. Because remember, this scene is from like the Captain America Civil War from the flashbacks, and then she was there because her brother Pietro died during Avengers Age of Ultron when he was saving Hawkeye and that Sokovian kid. And then after that, Vision tells Wanda that he feels the exact same way about how Wanda's feeling, and that he mentions that he's always been alone and he doesn't feel the lack. And then Agatha mentions that she said to recap that her parents are dead, her brother's dead, and now Vision's dead. And now she asks, well, what happened when he wasn't there to pull you back from the darkness? And then she says, tell me how you did it, because this is like the many times that like she's been asking Wanda on how she done it and how she brought Vision back to life and resurrected him. And then Agnes says, but you wanted him back, and Wanda says Agnes the same thing, like, I wanted him back, and now this caused Wanda to go into the Sword headquarters to steal Vision's body and resurrecting him and bring him back to life. And then Wanda walks into the Sword facility and says to the people at the front desk, they know that Vision is here, like she saw him gone when she came back, and then she says, and I know he's here. And then she goes right in, bursting the door open with her powers. She meets up with Director Hayward, where when he mentions that like Wanda is here to recover Vision's body and is here to see him. And then Wanda sees that they're trying to take apart Vision, and then like Hayward mentioned that they're dismantling the world's sentiment weapon in the world, and then Wanda mentions that Vision is not a weapon, you can't do this, obviously because this is part of Hayward's plan to bring back Ultron online. And then Wanda says that all she wants to do is bury Vision, and then Director Hayward said that he's not gonna allow her to take like $3 billion worth of vibranium, which is Vision, and bury him. And then Wanda takes a glance at the people taking apart of Vision, and then Hayward says, he's not yours. And then Wanda breaks open the glass and then like flies down on Vision. And then when she sees Vision being torn apart and dismantled, she tries to lay her weapon powers onto Vision's head, trying to feel him. But then Wanda says she can't feel him. So as from what we can tell by the scene, Wanda didn't go into Sword headquarters to steal Vision's body. Wanda went into Sword headquarters to check up our Vision to see that they are taking him apart, making him into Ultron, which was Hayward's plan going forward. And then she goes to Vision, and then she tries to feel him, and then she is caught by Sword agents with the guns pointing at her, and then she walks away from Vision's body being torn apart. And then after that, Wanda goes into her car, and then she even notices an envelope on the passenger seat. And then she drives away from the Sword headquarters and back into Westview. And then when she drives into Westview, that we can see that it's quiet now, and she notices that the people are like quiet. And then as you're walking, they are feeling depressed. And that, as we can tell, we are now in the present time, where she notices that people in Westview just acting normal. And then Wanda goes over to Vision's burial spot, and then as she opens the letter, we can see that it says to grow old in V, and with a heart around it. And now this is what Agnes does to cause Wanda to have her mental breakdown after she saw a Vision having pulled apart and turning him into Ultron, which was Hayward's plan all along. And then she leaves the sword facility, and that's what causes her to have her mental breakdown and open up the multiverse, ripping it apart. And then Wanda uses her warping powers and her powers to bring everything back to normal, but in black and white. And now this is from what we recall, this is from the start of the show again, like switching everything back into the 60s and to bring back Vision as well. And then Wanda realizes that this was all taped in front of a live studio audience, and then Agnes gives her a slow clap. So, because within this episode, it was basically like exploring Wanda's past, and we get flashbacks, and with Wanda wondering that she is not controlling this reality, Agnes does control this reality. And then Wanda hears her twin boys, Tommy and Billy, screaming and calling their mom for help. And then as she walks outside, we can see that they are being strangled by their necks and nearly killing them by Agatha Harkness, the witch. And as we can see, she is wearing her full Agatha Harkness witch outfit from the Marvel Comics, with the necklace on her, with the Grim Reaper and the other kids in there as well. And then Agnes mentions to Wanda on how dangerous she is and this whole little life that she made with Vision and her twin boys. And then she said that Wanda created chaos magic, which kind of started Wanda's reality, alternate reality in the first place. And Agatha revealing Wanda's name as the Scarlet Witch. And then we cut to the post-credit scene where the sword, where we take place to a different sword camp, and then Hayward goes behind the curtain, and as they're ready for the launch, as because they are planning an attack on the Hex. And then as he walks in, he can see that a sword has finally created, and that sword has finally made the weapon. It's white Vision, but it's half Ultron, half Vision. And then it ends with white Vision barely looking at his hand, and then it fades to the credits. Wow, that was a big post-credit scene with a Vision that is white, a white Vision, even from the Marvel Comics. But now this white Vision is definitely going to be controlled by sword, and now within the fight, in a WandaVision, now we're in for the fight for the finale with Wanda and Agatha fighting, and Monica Rambeau is also going to be fighting a thing as well, but because she has her powers now, she's a Spectra, and yeah, so I can't wait to see how it goes down for the finale. So that's it for this breakdown video, guys. Let me know how excited you are in the comments for the finale. Let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to like the video, and you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter for live updates. And with that, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.